this weave. So it's the day after my 45th solar return. So it's 45 plus 1. Hi, how's it going? I am Zeralath Eternal. Good to see you. I had such a wild weekend on everybody's channel but my own. I had my every Saturday bit, which I did. Always good. I enjoy the time that I spend each week on Greyhorn Pagans podcast. And then on the Bush Whisperer channel, I was on with Bush Shaman to talk about shamanism, origins of shamanism, right? Not as a shaman, but as somebody who deeply cares about the study of the shamanic arts and incorporates that practice into what I do, developing myself as a magus. I'm not even saying I'm a magus. I'm just saying that, like, it's way more appropriate to call myself a magus than a shaman. And I believe that shamans are a bloodline thing, to be honest with you, right? We're not all special in this kind of way, right? And that all is coming and consisting of some very specific things that are meant by shaman, right? Because we are using that term for everything within being done by any kind of mystical person, right? Being a magician or a mystic would be much more up to speed with where I am, right? And I think that there are other things other than the shaman that exist out there as a magical thing that perhaps you are meant to be, or that are available for you to choose to be. But we are living in a universe of certain rules in this respect. And one of the neat things that we did discuss was a little bit about where we're looking at these migratory patterns of the tribes that had shamans in those ultra early sense, and where they may have come from before the people that we coined the term for in Siberia, right? And then this is all where the conversation of the Bach saga comes in with its examples of our genealogy. And it's a question of, can you call the manner in which you validate the Bach saga. Your standard is the standard of validation of the Bach saga a good standard. Granted, this all needs to hang on the findings within Lemminkainen Temple, which we are not allowed to know at this time. It'll take some force of will at the right time. It's unfortunate that it couldn't be in a living Bach storyteller's time. If there are any other Bachs out there, I don't think they know the saga the way Eeyore's particular bloodline did. Otherwise, they would have found each other at least before Jim Chesner passed away. That's my thought, and that's my assertion on that situation. What's going on here? Do I have to go around some traffic? I think I gotta go around the vehicle. Looks like it. Anyway, let's see. Hold on one second, folks. We got some big semis parked on a small street. We're all right. We're doing all right. Ain't a big deal. But anyway, the discussion is, effectively about, okay, things you can trace back in the record to Carpathia. That's the idea. Everything about who men of the North, quote, white people think of themselves as, ultimately, the tracks for that start in Carpathia. That's where we landed when the Hyperboreans seeded the post-Ice Age races. And from Carpathia, then the three main branches of Carpathian white person, not Caucasian white person, who is more effectively of a Turkic variety, which, the complexion of northern Turks and such is a much, it's a much fairer complexion. And this fair complexion is what allows you to look at them, say that they're white, and then dump white conspiracy projections onto them, right? When they're actually fucking Khazarian. But anyway, because the Caucasus Mountains, Khazarian Empire, Caucasus Mountains, this is the whole thing. That's the Caucasoid situation. And it's running off of the Noah codes, right? It's running off, here's where the Ark landed in Turkey, Turkic people, you see, right? And then from Turkey, we start talking about the reseeding of civilization, right? That is where certain authorities that stuck on the other side of the ice wall in the Ice Age. That's the rabbis. That's the name of them, right? The rabbis. And in the Bach saga, that doesn't mean Jewish to be a rabbi. Rabbi is an ancient root language word. This caste, this particular role amongst this cast of, I think, Kars. I think that they're Karls, not Jarls. Cast characters, right? These roles in the Hyperborean family world stage. They were there to try and keep the connection between source family and the human population on this planet. And then it's a question of, did the family go sour? Right? Did the family go sour? Are we rightly placing a lot of our blames on them when we can pinpoint things that came with the mythos of white people, like, suspiciously just showed up one day and they were all sorts of good to us, but then they did all sorts of bad to us, or something like that, right? There's always some story like that, and then things got resentful, or we went away, and then, you know, years, aeons later, we assume that white people didn't change. And so the white people that were really cool to us, we just assumed because they were white people that they remember who we are, and so we can just trust them, right? And so, like, there was this deception here, because their people had a racial component, just because they were trying to remember what the visitors that were like good guys look like, right? Like, now we do this all the time with, like, fucking gray aliens and shit. Oh, there's good grays, there's bad grays, and we do this with the fucking with all the fucking races. And then you got people of ideologies like Stephen Greer, who, you know, he's got a completely globalist ideology. His ideology about alien races is sacrosanct with Khazarian globalist ideology for the non fucking chosen people class, right? It's a complete Loxist projection onto our cosmic sense of exopolitics, which, if alien races are going to be a part of our social stratum in the same human physical manner in which they are now, then you can make those cognitive leaps with someone like a Dr. Greer. I can't make those cognitive leaps because every fucking relationship everybody is fucking having with these guys is something along an angel-demon spectrum. It's more paranormal than scientific intrigue. The level of the abstract requirements to measure and study and analyze the phenomenon of alien encounters, especially on the third and fourth kind levels of encounters, is it's some sort of dreamscape, right? There's a surrealism every single time, right? Right? You know, do these entities have a particular living aura, or is it just the aura of their form because of our psychological conditioning to that form, which, going back now in history, there's plenty of evidence of mystical encounters with the ant people. And these are the almond-eyed, narrow-chinned, bulbous head, hairless, bipedal psychic entities that we call the Greys or the Mantises, right? And then these are the fucking, quote, ant people. And the ant people, we have seen plenty of malevolent behavior, as it would seem, and also benevolent behavior, including within reports of how the ant people helped preserve mankind during various different kinds of Ragnaroks, if you will, for different civilizations, and preserving those people. Right? So this is all aspects of our lore that is not coming from a discriminatory or a biased place. And, you know, the ancient alien types, which Dr. Greer is, you know, also exploits ancient aliens to his liking, is going to interpret things in accordance to his goddamn ideals. Everything needs to fit into his ideals that are his grift. This is what Egyptologists do when they're trying to sell you the mundane. So they're either a metaphysical phenomenon, and you need to fucking stop projecting. You're treating angels and demons like they are immigrants from a far off land, and thus you're conditioning people to treat them like human, but treat them better than human, right? This is the Loxism. This is fucking this is Loxism. The way Dr. Greer is asking you to treat aliens is the way he's asking you to treat Jewish Israeli persons of prominence. I mean, for fuck's sake, right? Every race is allowed to say they're a superiority without criticism of their feelings about being a superior race, and they do this in South Africa with the Dutch. They do this to the Dutch with the African authorities in South Africa since the Dutch lost, or since the British. That's the problem, is that the Dutch are the scapegoat for the British South African rulers, because they conditioned the South African people to look at all men of the North the same, so they don't distinguish from Brit and from Dutch, and thus you have those strange phenomenons of Elon Musk as such, right? Whom, if Elon Musk was just an ordinary man in South Africa, he would be hunted by tribes and things like that, right? Designed to be kind of a hostile place, right? It's there's a whole lot of warlord attitude that you will hear coming from their leadership about things, and there's always some sort of socioeconomic theory stapled into a reason why they believe and are convinced that certain manners of suffering are being perpetrated by the attitudes or something of the Dutch population down there, right? So here, this is my example, right? It's just like you need to have a deep level of discrimination. Shallow discrimination, skin deep, prima facie discrimination is terrible for us. It's a bad move. You need to discriminate after you fucking dug fucking deep. You need to spend the time looking at the different sides of the argument, and asking them where they're getting their context of facts from. This ought to be simpler than it is. You would think that people would care about getting it right before they would want to destroy and hurt everything, right? It's like people that have an objective of hurting Elon Musk's billion-dollar enterprise by attacking the one product that he makes that is within their reach, which is private automobile on a public road, right? Or you're going to a public address for the private business that has storage, which has its sales lot and its showroom, and the attack on the business, right? Now, I'm not so irritated about the attack on the business because, like, there's the disruptionary protests, right? I can't really stand that much against that principle, even though they're, I'd say they're arguing the wrong thing against Tesla. It's all a smokescreen to hide the failure of the technology to deliver the better world. That's the real issue here, is that everything nothing that Elon Musk has made has bettered your world. You get the euphoric feeling of the collective idea that we're doing the best stuff in fucking space again. And that's about the closest you feel to personal fucking benefit. Because all of his other pieces of equipment are just these technological, irritating responsibilities that you are into under the false pretexts of environmentalism. And maybe saving money on gas, even though you don't in the long haul with the strain on the energy grid, which everybody knows, and it's been discussed ad nauseum, this fucking juxtaposition. But it's like you've got leftists that are supporting a very specific, what they look at as the ethical way to fucking do violence as some sort of right in this nation by by the laws that restrict government that we call the Constitution, right? And it's just like they're doing things like they have won the property rights argument, right? Like they think they have the communist property rights argument now, so they're acting like that they are burning down our cars and not their cars. It's just like, I can burn this car, I can destroy this car because government money had something to do with it. And that's going to be a karmic rationale. That's going to be the karmic rationale. It's just that, like, my money made the production of this vehicle for market possible. And so that's their way in trying to prove something about the socialism that they believe in, while hurting the capitalist, right? And so that's their argument. It's just like, how dare you be a capitalist winning in our semi-socialist economy, right? And they got somewhat of a point, because if Tesla needs government money to run, as it does, then it's costing taxpayers as much as it's also costing the private owner. And the insurance company, they want to put a certain amount of stress on the insurance company, right? And if that insurance company, so they want to destroy, they want to make Tesla, they want to give Tesla the mark. They want it to be a marked car. They want to basically draw it off the market because it's just a car that has a higher percentile likelihood of being destroyed, right? And if they win that kind of mob argument, I mean, there's a certain point where you can't push back on culture, right? You have to continue to have an argument about right or wrong, but if they want to continually rationalize this and that, I mean, ultimately it's going to it's going to be a hard call as to how you handle that, right? You know, I would, I'd be hard pressed to figure out how, you know, like, yeah, I mean, like, that could succeed, right? But if it was going to succeed, it would have done so by now. You know, the manner in which the attacks on Tesla started and are now falling apart is all happening during this during these retrograde periods. And so with this retrograde relationship happening, you're looking at the product of this retrograde with Neptune having your imagination of how this is going to play out, not play. You ever met the guy who did the fucking stupid thing and then you just had to fucking ask him, like, what the fuck were you thinking? How did you think this was going to fucking play out? Right? That's their Neptunian illusions being shattered. Right? And you know, you've got, you know, then you've got all this shit running backwards in Aries, right? Venus, the Venus to Libra connection is the marketplace, right? And the emotional, it's kind of the emotional aspect of the marketplace in that respect, in the sense of relationships, right? There's a failing attempt to change America's relationship with basically, it's not about Tesla, it's about the future, right? Decline of morality means decline of quality. You see the decrease in qualia, you know? As we lost morality throughout the 20th century, we lost the quality. We see it in the infrastructure, and it's why we all, on our side of the aisle, where we feel more than we think, we hate postmodern brutalism, which for a person who doesn't feel postmodern brutalism, you can just look at it mentally and just get lost in the miasma of crude basic geometry and Unitarian form and function to the benefit of the corporate state, right? And this is one of the things I loved about the aesthetic choices in Villeneuve's Dune and the portrayal of House Harkonnen, with the black and white filter as the expression of the black sun, on top of it being all postmodern, brutalistic, with maybe a hint of Art Deco, only in the places that were meant to glorify Baron Harkonnen, and the basic symbols and standards of the Harkonnen gang. Anyway, I'm a little late for work and I want to take one hit before I go in. So I'm going to catch you guys later.